Sorry about that. Did not know that that was gonna do that. So wasted the first few minutes just doing that. So yeah, anyone who can see this going in the future, just skip to the final part. Like I said, did not know that was gonna happen. And I didn't know my screen looked like this, but you know it is what it is. All right, so we are here. Welcome to the Castles and Crusades Thanksgiving special. Hello, Ironcaster. This was a game that I'm going to tell you a story about. And this game was ran earlier today. We are a month behind here, but this is where my live group that I do play with took on the roles of Heim Redmoon and Catherine, the Master Thief. Yes, these are my kids. So they reprise their roles once again to play a Thanksgiving special, and then in a couple days we are going to play a Christmas special. And that would catch up for the holidays, and we can go into the new year. The day begins in a cloudy, rainy day. Light rain, roughly about 29 degrees. The light rain actually turns a little bit into snowflakes as it falls onto the ground, giving it its white texture on the grass. As Heim Redmoon rises from his slumber, living in a barn by the halfling, Brock, Brock, for those who don't remember, Brock was the halfling farmer that actually helped them out last time, about a month ago, taking on the undead against a cleric of Samhain. Brock has decided to take in Hyam, and Hyam has actually been helping out the halflings, as well as finding work in Redwood. As he awakes, he begins getting on his gear and helping those who need help setting up their what do they call those little stands, merchant stands, to where they come out and bring out goods and wares and food. Today is the 24th day of peace-giving, and they are giving thanks to a long-awaited peace that has been nearly happening among this land for nearly 950 years, if not longer. As he was helping everyone unload, he notices, unload and put up their stands. He does notice that there is a strange aura in the air, and he cannot quite explain it. It's made him unnerving. He's very nervous, as the last time he felt like this, undead came to try and take over the entire town. The comrade that helped him out last time, Catherine, has decided that she likes staying where she is and has decided to rent out a house. She has her own house here in Redwood, and she has all her gear is on. She took it out to the day early in the morning. They go about around town, and people are handing out free drinks, spiced hot cocoa, spiced coffee, spiced tea. The spice part is that they put alcohol in it to keep the blood from, to keep you warm on this cool day. And to keep the blood from basically freezing, as they say. Catherine has decided to have 2 cups of spiced cocoa and felt very lucid and tired and could not keep to her feet. She found a quiet, nice barn to lay into about noon, and she is starting to lay with some pigs on the haystack. Meanwhile, Hyam did have 1 drink, but it seemed to have been a bit too strong for him, as he does feel a little dizzy. But more loose, and nerves have been quieted down. As the day is approached on, a figure approached the land. And once inside the town, it casted a shadow larger than itself by 3 times. This was a beast that was larger than any beast that they've seen that of its normal stature. Hyam got in close, and as everyone laid eyes on it, they've watched this grotesque, turkey-looking beast with fangs, razor-sharp claws, and wings come about. It enters the town with a sinister stare, but yet a funny voice that everyone laughs about I am the Gobble King, and here I will take my revenge, says the turkey. Everyone begins laughing as that he has a funny, most feminine voice, thinking that he is harmless as ever. But at the mere laughter, he says one thing, and his voice suddenly turns into a dragon's roar. And that is when the land has fallen quiet. Within mere moments, as the harvest began, the corn stalks still left in the cornfields begin moving, shaking. Corn all the way around that is still in their husks was started moving and shaking, and suddenly sprouts and transforms this food into creatures, horrific creatures. They begin attacking the townsfolk. Heim immediately draws his longsword and goes, I can't allow this to happen, and I'm not going to allow someone else to try and take this town. He begins attacking the cornstalks very simply. He came up against a bunch of them, like a dozen or so, but within a few strokes of his sword, they have all fallen below his blade. He rises up above them with scratches, and then he turns his eyes to the turkey and goes, I bet you once I slay you, they won't be coming around no more. The turkey looks at him and begins laughing. And what makes you think you can slay me? As suddenly the cheese begins boiling and expanding. Everything that was cheese related began melting and molting, and things begin burning as this four crazy cheese monsters come about, and the cheese spews right around the turkey. And rising up is four cheese monsters. Suddenly someone comes out and goes, Heim! Heim! I have something for you, and throws a sack. He manages to catch the sack, and he's like, what is this? It's a cube of fire, just throw it, quickly! He throws it, and as it begins to land right square on the turkey managed to dodge out of its way. And once the vial lands and breaks, a cube of fire expands out, beginning to engulf the four cheese monsters. The turkey man, the giant demonic turkey was able to get outside of the cube's range. As the cube wore off in merely 20 seconds or so, the cheese monsters were boiling, red hot, mewing over their wounds. They immediately began spraying cones of fire right at Heim. Heim decided getting close and to try and take on the turkey. But as he got in close, he was well within their range of... I am slowing down a little. What are you talking about? I'm telling a story. As Heim begins getting close, he fell right within the range of the cube of cheese, molting hot cheese that began burning his skin and melting into his flesh. He screams, and a horrific scream. Meanwhile, inside of a barn, someone began hearing screams, and she begins to awake. She begins to awake. It is Catherine. She wakes up from her drunken slumber and peeks out and sees that there's corn people, molten cheese everywhere, and a demonic turkey that is attacking the townsfolk. She begins to sneak in on the turkey as she is thinking, dinner. She's hungry after her drunken stewer, so she pulls out her dagger and begins sneaking up as Heim is falling prey to the molten liquid cheese. As soon as everyone's attention began diverted, she comes up right behind the beasts, but before she could even strike, it steps to the left, and she hits the ground. And the turkey looks at her and goes, "Prepare for war. and the turkey let out a lordly gobble, the sound, if not greater than the sound of a fully ancient dragon's roar. And blood began pouring out of the ears of both Catherine and Heim. Catherine fell with her ears and head feeling like it's about to explode, and so did Heim. They quickly grabbed their brooms of flying that they recently got a month ago that they were carrying on them, and they began to flee the area as there was no point in trying to stop the turkey. As they were leaving, the turkey managed to say one thing and goes, "My name, once again, is the Gobble King, and now you will all belong to me." Other townsfolk began fleeing the town of Redwood, as Redwood fell under the control of both meat, cheese, and dessert trays, monsters of abominations. And that is where we're going to leave off this story. Redwood has now fallen, and maybe sometime in the future be picked up to see the Gobble King, to see the defeat of the Gobble King. For those who tuned in, thank you so much. Ironcaster, Mrs. Tabletop, thank you. This wasn't supposed to be anything big, so just a small story to add to the Chronicles of Faramore, and that is it. For those who will view this probably in the future, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.